The Colourists were some of the most important and most avant-garde artists working in the early 20th century. They were a very shocking group of artists. These paintings were very bold and very vibrant, and unlike anything that had been seen before. The Colourists play an important role in the development of British art during the early 20th century. At the time, Glasgow was a very forward-thinking city filled with industrialists who fully embraced the idea of modernism within painting. One of these important industrialists was Major Ion Harrison. It seems he had a thoroughly modern outlook on the world. Harrison was an extremely important patron and friend to all of the Colourist artists. During his lifetime, Harrison amassed an incredible collection of Colourist works. George Leslie Hunter was the first of the Colourist artists that Harrison met in 1919. He, I think, was particularly intrigued by Hunter's work, as Hunter was the most varied of the group, and probably the most modern in his aesthetic. This can be seen in his painting, The Bay, Juan Lepin. Here you can clearly see the influence of the Fauvist artists, and in particular the work of Matisse. Houseboats Loch Lomond is an extremely important late work by Hunter. Having absorbed all the modern painting techniques in France, Hunter is now applying them to a uniquely Scottish setting. Of all the Colourist artists, it was Harrison's relationship with Francis Campbell Boileau-Cadell that was the closest, and the two became great friends. The Pink Azaleas was the first work by Cadell that Harrison purchased. It's an extremely accomplished still life, with bold, saturated colour and a very interestingly closely cropped composition. Harrison recalls that when Cadell first visited Croft House, he saw the Pink Azalea hanging on the wall in the room to his left. He went straight up to it and turned to Harrison and said, "I've often wondered where that picture went. I congratulate you on having acquired it, and, although I say it myself, you have a damned good Cadell." Painted in 1915, Reflection is a masterpiece by Cadell. It's a symphony in tone and colour, with the perfectly balanced whites and greys, reminiscent of Whistler and Manet. The first time that I visited Croft House, and I walked into the drawing room, and I saw Cadell's painting of the drawing room hanging in the very same room it depicts, was an extremely special moment. It was Cadell that first introduced Harrison to Samuel John Peploe. There was a genuine admiration between Harrison and Peploe. For Harrison, he was in awe of Peploe's incredible artistic talent, and from Peploe, an understanding that Harrison was an extremely important patron, but also a huge appreciator of his art. Since they were bought by Harrison in the 1920s and 30s, these pictures have remained on the walls of his home at Croft House, untouched and unchanged. It's very rare to see a collection that has this incredible direct link to the artists themselves, but also to an amazing collector and to a very important period in the formation of modern British art.